Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour. I'm joined, as always, remotely, once again, by my lovely, wonderful co-host, Alexander Volz. Say hello.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That is a brand new discography, more or less, per episode. And today we are talking about
Joy Division.
Oh, bring out the tissues. This is the perfect time to listen to a band that's going to crush your spirits and your soul when we're not allowed to leave our fucking houses again. How many quarantine episodes is this? Like 4 or something?
We've been knocking them out. Yeah, this is like 4. Also, I don't know if we've had like a band in a while where we both like went in fairly cold.
No, this isn't cold for me. I'm very familiar.
Okay.
I've heard all these albums before.
Never mind.
Yeah, I longtime fan of the old Joy Divisions. But before we go into that, if you like us and want to support us, please subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and wherever you fucking want. Or you cannot do that, but please actually do that because we need you to do that. And if you're listening and you like us, then you want to help us, right? Yeah, sure. Do that, please, for the love of God. Also, be sure to check out the Joy Division playlist on Spotify that we have put together. You could find links in the description of wherever you're listening and watching, as well as everyalbumever.com. We have playlists associated with every single goddamn episode. And we're going strong because during quarantine, we got nothing to do. We have no choice but to keep doing this stupid bullshit. So
Please still work.
Yeah.
Still work.
It is. It actually is. Like, it's not work when I feel like it's not work when we actually start. It's like everything else. It's the sitting down and starting that is always the hardest. It's like with diet and exercise, the same bullshit.
Yeah.
It's always the moments before a brand new band that I just prolong it and I procrastinate. And as soon as I start, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a fun thing that I do every week. So, yeah. Anyway, I feel like I rushed through plugs so fast that I probably missed something, but you know what? Fucking whatever. We're gonna keep on trucking. Oh God. So, Joy Division. You know nothing of Joy Division, or you knew nothing going in.
I know love will tear us apart, whichever one does.
Love will tear us apart. Okay. Uh-huh.
I know that album cover is fucking beloved. One of the most
Unknown Pleasures, the album cover.
Worn t-shirts.
It's also
very iconic.
One of the more hilariously parodied t-shirts that you could find all over the internet.
It's so easy.
It's great. Yeah, Joy Division, they are I don't know. I mean, they started punk. They started in the early punk scene, late 70s, and they quickly became what I guess can be called post-punk. It's a really, really broad subgenre. But when I think post-punk, I think Joy Division, I think Killing Joke, I think bands that are hard. They don't sound at all like each other, but they're all in the same camp of punk in spirit, but not in sounding.
I feel like, yeah, it's more like a mindset, if you will, than an actual genre. To me, it's like bands who have like that punk mentality, but they play something different.
That's one thing I really love about early punk is that I guess like logically it seems like from the early days it branched off and it became hardcore punk, which it did, but that was just one tiny branch or one tiny fork in the road that it took. Like it also became new wave and also became goth stuff and it also became like all these other things. Like they all came from punk. They all sound nothing like it. Hardcore punk is the only one that kind of retained, I guess, like the simplicity of it. But bands like Joy Division definitely came from that. And they're largely associated, I think most people can agree on, like the fucking sad people with fucking black clothing and hating the world and crying. I know I was fucking definitely in that camp when I listened to them as a young boy.
Yeah, they kind of took what like Susie and the Banshees and the Cure did and made it, how do I want to say this? Like more intense, I guess.
Yeah, they're an interesting band. I started listening to them at the age of 13. I remember that very vividly because of all the things that their albums are associated with for me. And they like, it's one of those things where there's no mistaking the year because of like, I heavily associate with these albums the weirdest association, the game Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 had just come out, which was 2005, and these albums were on rotation while playing the game. So they're tied like that in not Debaser, that's a song, Doolittle from the Pixies. Like that's another album that's heavily associated with that video game in that time period. Being 13 and being a fucking just on the wrong path morally and in terms of my entire social life. But it was like around the time I was getting more into punk stuff, and I didn't know a lot of people who liked them. I really liked them. My brother got me into them, of course, as he did with most things that were not common for children to be listening to. And I remember, this is just a side anecdote. I remember this girl, I fucking like, God damn, like she seemed cool because she was older than me. She was a year older than me, but like when you're a kid, that seems like a lot. And she liked punk stuff, and I was like, "Oh, cool! An older girl who likes punk stuff." And I remember bringing up Joy Division. She's like, "Yeah, I don't listen to music like that." I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot! Like, how do you shut? I don't know what you're done. You're out of here. I don't like you anymore." But yeah, I have a fondness for this band. I haven't heard them in a long time, so it was weird going back. It was like it was a fucking time machine listening to these albums again.
Yeah, it's funny how much I used to love Interpol.
Mm-hmm.
And I like never like ventured over to Joy Division because Interpol is so like heavily influenced by them.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't really make any sense that I didn't give them the proper listening to until now.
Also, I think Interpol fans and Joy Division fans, they seem very standoffish, if that's a not too bold way to put it. They seem like assholes. Like I've not met like that whole, especially with like gothiness and anything kind of loosely associated with punk. There's a lot of elitism. There's a lot of you don't know. What do you know? What do you know about? Like it was really heavy on that. When I got more into those genres and scenes and stuff, like. Who the fuck like this? Do you own the band, you asshole? Like I don't know. It is a lot of that with indie music. It's a fucking weird thing. Like you don't own these artists, man. They do what they want, and they want more people to hear it. So like, I don't know. It's weird. But
I kind of get it. Like,
how do you mean?
Like you feel like the band is when you're younger, like you feel like it's like your band, and then if it gets bigger or like someone you don't like, it doesn't feel like it's yours anymore. It's a very stupid attitude to have. But, I remember going through those emotions.
Hell yeah! I mean, I was the same way. I'm shitting on it. I mean, I'm shitting on it retrospectively as a guy who learned the hard way everything in life. I learned fucking everything the hard way. But so let's start with the what do we know? I know the bullet point. I know the main things that happened, but for everyone else,
they man. I forgot to write down the band members, but two of them went to a Clash concert and they didn't know each other. And they posted an ad and they were like, "Oh shit, we were like both at that concert. Like it inspired us so much." And then they started the band. They didn't always have Ian Curtis as the singer, but eventually
not to cut you off, the original members are Bernard Summer and Peter Hook.
Yeah, that's those two.
Respectively, the guitarist, keyboardist, and bassist. But go on.
Yeah, so Ian Curtis wasn't always in the band, but they brought him in, and they started off as a punk band, which we'll touch on. And
I believe they were called Warsaw when they first started.
Yeah, after a David Bowie song, and then. It's so funny, like listening to this, like krautrock is not a it's not like a cool genre to be into. It's very.
It's not. I think it's fucking awesome.
I personally,
I fucking think krautrock is so good.
But it's very nerdy. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not
very nerdy.
It's nerdy, and also normal people would think you're mentally ill if you show them, like most krautrock bands. I think I did one time. I was at a coffee bean and a Can song came on. I was like, whoa, hold on a second. What's happening here? But it was like a really accessible Can. It was like a Can song that can pass as a pop song. They didn't have the 10-minute dicking around fest that they often do. But
anyways, so I'm listening to this and I'm like, man, they're like, if they were part of like the krautrock scene, they'd probably get that label too, because and then sure enough, looking up their influences, they love Can, they love noise. So
yeah, that makes sense. Thinking about a lot of the stuff like right now, I can definitely see. I didn't think about the comparison during the albums, but that's actually pretty apt.
Well, I always think about like simple driving beats and
repetitive drums is like a hallmark of krautrock. Or Can, I guess.
Not that I think Joy Division is repetitive, but there were times where it's like, yeah, it doesn't really there aren't like these crazy bridges or fills or anything. It's just
it's a lot of
rock alike.
It's a lot of elaboration on one single musical concept. Every song is kind of like that. They'll have like one melody, one bass line, and it'll just keep layering on top of that. That's pretty much universal with the band.
Also, I guess we should say their producer, Martin Hannett, is like their George Martin. He's very instrumental in the way they ended up sounding. Mm-hmm. He's like their unofficial member.
Gotcha. So we are going to be talking about 3 albums today. They only officially released as a band 2 albums. The first one, 1979, the last one, 1980. Very short career, extremely short career. But we're going to be talking about the Substance compilation, which was released in 1988. It has like their first EP and a bunch of well-known singles. It has Level Terrace Apart on there. It's canon enough. So we're going to be talking about those 3. Jump into it.
I will say also before jumping into it that if they did not have compilation albums, this would be a messy discography. So good on the band and the label for recognizing it's kind of a mess. We need some compilation albums to.
Yeah, for sure. Let's
get into it.
All right, this is 1979, first album, Unknown Pleasures. Love this so much.
It's so good.
Beautiful guitar line.
I've been waiting for a guy to come and take me by the hand.
It's poppy, but it's already pretty sad. It has that melancholy to it.
Yeah, I noticed that. But they can do songs that are relatively upbeat, and then you hear the lyrics, and you're just like
destroyed.
An A.
It's in his bass line. I love that bass line so much. It's like incorrect, but it fits somehow. Oh, so damn good. So damn good. Oh boy.
Are we doing a best worst thing on this episode, or is this so short?
It's super short, but it's kind of obvious. Best personal favorite for me. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna catch flack.
Uh-oh.
It's an amazing album, though. I totally get why people pick this one over the other one because it's a short discography. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
At the time, I totally get why it was so revolutionary. The production on it is so fucking crazy.
It's
for the
unbelievable.
time.
The production is perfect, and I don't mean like it's the best sounding album. It's just, I mentioned this with
it fits.
I mentioned this with the birthday party episode 33. Shit, I think it was 33. Yeah, that with the birthday party's Junkyard, where it's not exactly good production, it's just made for the band. That band is supposed to sound the way that album sounds. That's with Unknown Pleasures is for Joy Division, for sure. It's cold and sad and hopeless and empty and fucking painful. Like every song sounds that way.
And I brought up the producer earlier because they would not sound like this without him. Like they credit him as like, they didn't really know what they were doing. So they were this like, okay, like they gave him so much like control.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he insisted on the singles. Like there's a lot of things that sound electronic about the drums, but that's just because he insisted that each single drum be recorded on separate tracks. So he had at least on the singles, because so like on like She's Lost Control, which is like
unbelievable. It's one of
my favorite songs ever now.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's my favorite Joy Division song for sure. It's that song. Not only did it wreck me as a kid, but it holds up so well. It's, oh my God. Okay, there's 2 basses in there. There's fucking 2 basses. There's the main hook is a bass line, a really high up on the neck. And then during like the chorus part, there's a second bass on top of it. Obviously you couldn't be played like that live. You can find live footage of the song. It is not the same. This version of the song is just fucking perfect. And there's, no one else does 2 basses.
What about Spinal Tap?
Big Bottom.
That's the other thing is like if you find like live footage of the band, that these songs sound so different because they were not like ready for what the producer was going to do here. And that song's like, I also probably should have mentioned that the singer had epilepsy and he had seizures. Yeah,
there's one actual famous photo of him having a seizure. It's the only one captured with him having one on stage. He was epileptic. And I think that's what She's Lost Control was actually about.
I was going to say, as someone who gets migraine headaches, that song is so relatable because it's just about your body fighting you.
Yeah.
And it's
tragic.
Oh man. For me, a very relatable song. Right. And I listened to it like a million times when I heard it.
It's so good. I'm glad you love it because that song is just it's unbelievable song. And there's so many on here, like the opening track, Disorder, fucking wonderful. Day of the Lords, it's slow and fucking, it hurts so much. It hurts. Oh,
that's an interesting song too, because it's about trench warfare and you don't really like associate the way Joy Division sounds with like an older war like that. So it's it's very much in-house for what they sing about, especially like trench warfare is one of the most horrific things ever. So it fits. Another favorite of mine on here was New Dawn Fades.
Took the words out of my mouth. Yeah. So good.
It's one of the most epic songs ever. It's like fucking it's like Black Sabbath and Can had like a baby, and even the solo at the end reminds me a lot of Black Sabbath. And man,
we're putting on some New Dawn Fades because that song is so damn good. There we go. Of course, it takes an hour to start. Man, like everything sounds so cold. Like, I don't know how do you make an album sound cold, but this whole album sounds that way. It's weird.
Yeah, I just think for like how much tinkering Panic did, was just able to like be very focused on a particular sound.
It's fascinating, like, because I mean, countless albums fucking throw reverb on instruments, and it doesn't have this empty, dark and sad feel. It's very specific, not only to like the way it's produced, but like the songs really bring it out of it too, because these are fucking hopeless songs. Listen to this guitar line.
Also, like, we'll talk about it later. He didn't always like sing in this like trademark, like monotone, deep voice.
I'm glad he brought up his voice because he's one of the worst singers I think of all time. He's a fucking awful singer. Ian Curtis cannot sing, and it's infuriating because he has a voice that is very distinct. It is very definitive to Joy Division sound. He can't hit the right notes. He can never hit the right notes, and it is unbelievable how bad he sounds sometimes. On this whole album, it's somehow, because of the way it's produced and the way how depressing the songs are, it gets lost in there. Like, you don't pay so much attention to how many wrong notes he's hitting, because it sounds like he's just hopelessly depressed, and it fits the sadness of the entire album. So you're not actually, it's like, I Remember Nothing, the closing track, which is this slow, fucking punishing, really eerie, and there's a lot of space and silence in it. He hits every single wrong note. Every single note he tries is wrong. But you don't pay attention because of how just ugly and sad everything is. It's lucky. It's lucky.
You don't always have to be technically proficient.
I wouldn't even say
if you're able to capture
an emotion.
Mood and
it's all the emotion. And the reason why I don't want to shit on it so much on here is because it fits the mood of the album. In other parts of the discography, I'm going to tear into him very viciously. Very viciously.
Jesus Christ.
Here, it's not bad.
This is why you can't have nice things.
No. And I love it. I love this album. And I like this band a lot. And they're a big, important part of my childhood. But facts is facts, motherfucker. He can't sing.
I will say I wasn't expecting to be like blown away by any like one individual component of the band. But when Shadow Play came on, like, I really like the guitar playing on that song. Like, so yeah, after that song, I was just like, man, the guitar player is crazy. And not that like the bass player and the drummer aren't, but like I said, I just thought it was going to be one of those bands where it's like everyone is kind of, as a whole, no one's going to really steal the show, but on Shadow Play, guitar really took it for me there.
That song, and I mean a lot of their songs in general, it's the guitar playing. It's obviously they're started out as a punk band. They're not like crazy musicians, but it'll do this thing where the bass comes in. Bass usually starts it off somehow, and then you think the guitar is going to follow it somehow, and then it just goes somewhere else. It goes somewhere else, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to feel this way immediately. Interesting songwriters, good songwriters, clearly. I don't think Candidate is terrible, but it is low energy, and it comes on way early in the album. It's like track 3, and it's like, whoa. That's like, you had such a powerful opening with Disorder and Day of the Lord, then you throw one of the fucking weakest ones. I don't like Wilderness very much. Inner Zone shouldn't even be on this album. It's just a punk song. It's a punk song. It is watch. Like we put on a couple clips, and they were like these fucking hopeless, sad sounding, and then you get this shit. Fucking rock and roll.
Yeah.
He's got those fucking Iggy Pop like in the background. Fucking Stooges. It sounds like the Stooges. You gotta tell me how
It does fit seamlessly over it.
It does, but that's also weird, that song too, because of it's produced the same way as the other song, like all cold and hopeless, but the song is like a feel good rock and roll Stooges ripoff.
Yeah, I was so like caught up in it that it didn't even, for whatever reason, it wasn't even like
A sore thumb.
that jarring until you pointed it out to me. So that's
in all fairness,
definitely something I'm gonna keep in mind when I revisit the album on future listens.
That's in all fairness, I didn't notice it until this listen. Until I was listening for this part. Like as a kid, I never paid attention and noticed it. But yeah, when you look at how like in the past few episodes, I've been criticizing albums for being for not mixing it up enough, or I would say like it's only one mode. The reason why I always picked something that had just a bunch of different styles over the one mode is because usually it's really hard to get one mode throughout the entire album and it still be interesting. This is one of those rare instances where all the songs seem the same and kind of sound the same, but it's a short album and each one they're depressing, but they're not going to take away your entire soul the way like a Swans or like a Neurosis might take your soul.
No, I mean, unless you're paying attention to the vocals, it's or the lyrics, the actual lyrics.
Yeah.
And I think that's, why like the rest of the band, New Order has some poppy stuff. So I think that's part of why they were able to have that versatility for sure.
And also another reason why I'm giving this best is because this is the only one of their albums that I think is really re-listenable, because I'm gonna give a tad of a spoiler. It gets real upsetting with future listens. Not this album, future albums. This one is like, it's really dark, it's really sad, it's really cold, but the songs are so damn good that like you still kind of want, like it's like a Sunbather from Death Heaven, where it's like, for me it's one of the most depressing albums ever, but the songs are so good I keep wanting to hear it over and over again. It's just like that. Whereas we'll get to the second album in a little bit, which I feel is a bit of a bummer. But like, again, I still don't think it's super consistent. Like the songs I mentioned, Inner Zone, Wilderness, Candidate. But the good songs are just fucking amazing.
Yeah, they're all home runs. I kind of like Wilderness. I didn't think it was. I was debating if that one should go on the playlist or not. But
interesting.
Yeah, as this, it's always scary going into an album with such critical appraise and love, and so it definitely lived up to all that.
I'm surprised. Like, the more praise an album has with me going in, like the more I feel let down, just because, like, even if it is good, I heard this example used. Oddly enough, on Tiger King, which I don't know how relevant it's going to be by the time this episode comes out, but it's a pretty fucking big deal during the quarantine. Like, it's the main thing people watch. And a comedian I like was saying, look, it's real good, but like the way everyone was hyping it up, if I had found this on my own, I would have said, oh, you have to see this. This is amazing. But because everyone had that experience, everyone saw it and then said, oh my God, you have to see this. It dilutes it. For like, finding something good on your own is always way more amazing than someone showing you what they think is amazing.
What did we just fucking talk about, Mike being an elitist asshole?
What? What?
You learn nothing. You learn nothing.
Like, you're right. But the thing is, it's always, because it's all hype. Like, it's harder to, it's hard to appreciate something with hype. It's a weird thing. Like, you have to really separate it and then appreciate it for what it is. Because it's not less good because someone's hyping it up.
Also, I feel like when something has such like critical appraise, people are scared to like bash it or like look crazy if they don't like it. And yeah, you can we do it all the time.
Unfortunately, yeah.
In this instance, we happen to stars align with
Yeah. There's a lot of those
hype.
There's this isn't even related. I mean, it's related, but it's not a band related. The fucking Clash. I didn't realize that London Calling is like 100% across the board everywhere. Like everywhere. It has like 100 on fucking Metacritic or whatever or something, or everything gave it perfect scores. Everything.
Mhm.
It's good. It's not fucking like what? I'm so flabbergasted by that.
I feel like we're gonna do that one day.
We are. But that's another thing. Like, I would like it probably a lot if everyone in the world didn't say it's the best album ever. Like, that's weird. Yeah.
There's some pressure involved, and you just build it up in your head, and then in some instances nothing can add up. So I get it.
Yeah, but this is still my best favorite. I hold this album very dearly, and it holds up. I was expecting to not like it as much. I was actually expecting Curtis's vocals to get on my nerves more, but here, like I said, man, it's just a real cohesive, full, really fucked up, upsetting package. So it damn near should work for anybody who likes sad music. Anyway, next album, last album, technically when they were a band. This is 1980, Closer.
Such a cool beat.
Great beat. Tribal, it's poppy, it's fucking catchy as hell. I really love that the drums have an actual melody to it because of the way they're tuned.
Yeah. I kind of found that this is a socially acceptable version of the birthday party, this particular song.
Way more socially acceptable.
Yeah, like if it went off the rails, it'd be a birthday party song.
Yeah.
This is the way, step inside. This is the way, step inside.
I really like how that vocal line is oddly sad compared to the poppiness of the rest of the song. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of similar to Disorder, similar openings. Obviously, this is a personal favorite.
This is your one?
Like, this at the time, and I don't know if it's because I was just riding so high on the previous album, like, this felt tighter to me.
Really?
And they're both amazing albums. Like, it's really like a flip of the coin. It's real hard.
I've heard that before. A lot of people just like they're as good as each other. This one, going back to it like this, because I listened to this a lot as a kid too. It never felt so much like a different band than this listen of it.
Really?
Like, first of all, the production is way worse. Way
You
not
think
good.
so?
It's not bad production. It's really garagey, like garage rock, which is. It's not bad. It's cool. And it has like that live, especially the vocals and drums. They have that really in the room sounding kind of feel to it. But I like the cold and sadness of the first album. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
I still think this is, cold and sad, but in a different way.
I think the writing is more cold and sad. So more so than the production for sure.
One thing that does frustrate me about this band is reading people say like, oh, it was because this was released 2 months after he died.
Okay, another
Very-
posthumous thing. So,
Yeah, very similar.
We should probably go over his death. I mean, like, while we're here.
Yeah, so it was most likely a suicide, right?
I thought it was a guaranteed suicide. Yeah, like it was. Really? I thought he hung himself while listening to Iggy Pop's "The Idiot."
Oh, I didn't read shit. I didn't read that Iggy Pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we didn't really get into it, but a lot of the songs on the previous album, this album, you know, he was married very young, had a child very young.
This dude was a baby. He was real young.
Yeah, he also had a mistress. So a lot of these songs are about, you know, and he kind of knows, or he does know what he's doing is wrong. And so it's a lot of battles inside, specifically on this one, like Heart and Soul is a good example. The Heart and Soul being his wife and then his mistress. But yeah, the epilepsy was getting bad. The seizures were getting bad. And a lot of people say like, oh, it's so obvious if you read his lyrics that he was suicidal. Like, you know how much dark shit
is on it? A lot of
we listen to so much dark shit from singers who are still alive and
dude,
not at all.
Yeah.
So
take any early Swans release, and I promise you will think that Michael Gira should be locked up because of he's psychotic, not only suicidal but murderous and fucking no. Like they're just words, man. You never know.
So yeah, all the fans who are like, oh, it's so obvious. Like, no, you can. If people knew suicides were obvious, obviously people would stop them from happening.
Or at least
never.
try. Yeah.
It's very rarely obvious. So that's something I don't like, but that has nothing to do with the music. Damn, you want a song called Isolation on there? And it's actually about like the joys of being alone. One of the few songs that
I hear that. It's a weirdly appropriate song to listen to during a quarantine. However, I hate the song a lot.
Sure.
It is a ridiculous electronic dance song, and I'm going to put it on for all of you now. Here we go. Track 2, by the way.
Yeah, fairly early.
This is fuck, man. It's like in the vein of Kraftwerk, but like bad. People like this song too, right? Am I mistaken with that? I think it's a pretty popular song.
Yeah, this is when you're like, oh, New Order, totally. Right?
Yeah. Ooh, he sounds rough. All right. I fucking hate that song.
So yeah, you do get a few songs on here that people coined the term goth or goth disco.
Yeah.
Like a means to the end.
Dude, he sounds rough. He does not sound good. Man, I'm glad you're nodding your head because he does not.
I mean, the epilepsy alone is fucking rough shit to go through. So
I mean, his fucking vocals, dude. It's man, and even Heart and Soul, like every note is wrong. Like you start to wonder if it's on purpose, but it's probably not. Like you get where he's going, but he's just missing them. It's like it's he just can't sing. It's like it's so odd. It's not odd, but like it's so rare that you get a band where the vocalist cannot hit the right notes. Like even bad vocalists with bad technique or don't know how to actually sing. A lot of them aren't completely tone deaf. He's tone deaf.
He might be.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Okay.
Man.
So we talked about the dancey stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that like really works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Colony.
Oh, it's real good. I like that one. I'm putting on a little taste of that one. It's, you know what? I'm gonna set it up. Here we go. This is like krautrocky as fuck.
Hell yeah. So good.
This song I don't feel very Joy Division coming from this. Because like, especially because the production is, you know, very almost industrial like. The song is really repetitive and driving and has a lot of energy. And also, it's not at all so crushingly depressing. So, yeah, that one definitely sticks out. I was like, oh, it's not what you, I guess, would picture with a band like this. But
another song I like a lot, 24 Hours.
You like that one? I fucking do not.
I like it.
I like that one.
I'm gonna take a scenic drive with that on for some reason.
That song is like, it's weird because it's somehow depressing and boring to me. Like, how am I sad but also like annoyed by this?
Man, I don't know how you think that song is boring. Like it really stood out to me.
Because like, okay, another thing that we should definitely talk about. A lot of the songs, like, you know, Isolation, obviously, and then, you know, the opening track, Atrocity Exhibition, you know, the poppy tribal one, Colony, they're all like, you know, krautrocky, driving, a lot of tribal drum kind of stuff, electronic. And then you get the rest, which are the most soul-shattering, punishing, unrelenting, depressing songs. Passover's pretty fucking brutal. And the last two tracks, The Eternal and Decades.
Yep, I was gonna say, did you cry on the closing tracks?
As a kid, those two songs fucked me up so much. And this is the thing. One argument that I've heard about this album was that, like, it's not really a depressing album. It just ends with two really depressing songs. However, very few albums, and I'm having trouble thinking of a single one, leaves you feeling worse at the end of it than this one. This album leaves you feeling like shit. Like, those last two songs are, oh my God, they're an attack. They're an attack on the spirit.
It's so funny with the Eternal, like, so there's these more like upbeats, not upbeat, that's not the right phrase, but like more full, almost electronic sounding songs. Mm-hmm. And then the Eternal comes on and the piano almost feels like you're finally like coming up for air, like you can breathe after everything else. But man, real quick, it just shoves you right back under. Dude,
okay, I'm going to tell you an old story, an old memory. Our mutual friend John Bowers, I've been friends with him since childhood, and he was obviously around when I was discovering this album. And I said, dude, this band's real sad. I want to show you a song. And I put on the song, and the thing I'm going to put on for everyone listening right now, it starts out with a bass line that is a regular ass bass line. He's like, this is sad. And then the piano comes in, he's like, oh my God. And I watched the hope leave his eyes. And I'm going to do that for all of you right now. This is The Eternal. Something from like the Birds or something. And now we are going to commit a ritual suicide, Alex and I.
Yep.
The sadness has become far too great. Also, there will never be an end in sight. This is what? Sorry, I was sadding for a second.
After the ritual suicide, people are going to be like, "It's so obvious." They were talking about Nick Drake and Joy Division during the quarantine. You should have known. And that Sublime episode, I didn't think they were going to make it. Oh, say fucking pure Matt. This brutal what they were doing to themselves with that Sublime episode. Oh, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, this is actually the third episode in a row with a band with 3 albums in the discography. Yeah, and somehow we lined up these weird similarities between Sublime and Joy Division that their final record was released 2 months after the singer died.
Singer, yeah. So it's the Eternal. Obviously, you all heard. It's very sad. Very, 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 very sad. Decades, the actual final track. You think with a song like the Eternal that Decades is going to change it up, and then no, and then it's also super. It has like silly synths, kind of like in Isolation, but they make it sad, and it's a fucking not a happy place to leave your album. And man, I didn't, when I was listening to this again, I thought like, man, do I like an album that makes me feel this fucking awful by the end of it? And the answer is yes, absolutely. I love things that make me feel like shit. I'm a horrible person. I love more than that, actually.
I told you that.
Huh?
I could have told you that.
Found it funny, Alex. But I just love albums that make you feel a thing that like a really good fucked up movie. Like, I mean, it's not pleasant, but it really, it reminds you you're human. God damn it. And, it sure beats the hell out of being bored, man. Fuck, man. This is a good ass album. I'm glad I still like it after all these years. Like, I mean, I don't care for a lot of it, but fuck, man, it sticks with you. Jesus.
Yeah, I like both albums. It's really a cool thing to visit and explore. I almost wonder if younger me would have been accepting of these albums, because I feel like all the weirdness and the krautrock made me ready.
Really?
For Joy Division.
Yeah, it's pretty tame by those standards. Pretty tame.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not a wild band. It's just sad. It's just pretty sad, I guess. Fuck, I thought.
I will say we talked about it earlier, but it is a good point to come back around to that. You always talk about like bands that do these little flourishes in songs, and sometimes the little flourishes are just as great as a crazy solo or technical playing, and I think that's a lot of what Joy Division is. It's not like a lot of overtly technical playing at first, but man, when you're really like observing it and active listening, it's great. There's always a little something there in the song that's different from the previous time you listen to it.
Yeah, that's what I love about a lot of punk bands, and like I said in the past, people often like to lump punk in with simplicity and being young and then playing, 4 chords fast. But a lot of them were real talented songwriters. Yeah, these guys are no different. Flourishes, just like we were saying, especially with tracks like Colony and stuff. One basic idea that just keeps elaborating, and they keep throwing little things here and there, little changes along the way. It still retains that same anchor, that same bass line or whatever. But fuck, man, good songs. Fucking upsetting, dude. This is one of the most upsetting albums I think this is the most upsetting album I've listened to for this podcast. I think so. Like,
really?
This one album is the most upsetting one. It just leaves you with such an upsetting taste at the end of it.
Yeah. I don't know if we've done anything so moody and dark outside of our year-end album picks, but our year-end, a good old Lingua will fucking destroy your soul. That's who we are, people. We just we put on these faces for you.
Yeah, we're just dead inside, for sure, dead inside. But so this is your personal favorite, not your best.
I guess I'm gonna call on. I feel weird because it's only 3 albums. I guess I'm going to do the right thing. Unknown Pleasures is clearly their best.
Okay.
I get it. But as of right now, being new to Joy Division, Closer also struck a chord with me.
I think if this album doesn't strike a chord with you, you got no fucking soul. There's no, like, it's just, man. Oh, fuck this album. I don't want to go back to this one for a minute. Like, it hurts.
Well, also because everyone talks about like Unknown Pleasures, and people talk about Closer. It's also very critically acclaimed, but it's not held in the
No,
the
yeah.
same regard. So you're just like, man, are they going to be able to like follow this up? And to me, they did. So
Yeah, it's one thing that I really appreciate. I mean, they only had 2 albums, so it's not that impressive. But when a band does something perfectly and there's no way to replicate that or whatever, so they just deviate. It's like we mentioned that with Slayer, with like South of Heaven after Rain and Blood. Like you can't continue that same train. You have to change it up. Like there's no way. You perfected it. There's no don't fucking fuck with that. Yeah, this album it feels way different than the first one. Way different.
I will say it is real interesting that they weren't like the first. I talked about The Cure and Susie and the Banshees earlier, but it's almost like they perfected it.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that's like I love Susie and the Banshees. It's a tomato thing, but not a diss on the other 2 bands at all.
So we are moving on to the compilation. This has their first EP, which I believe is called An Ideal for Living, as well as all kinds of singles that were, Transmission, Atmosphere, Level Tear Us Apart, digital songs that are pretty synonymous with Joy Division. This is 1988. So I didn't pull it up because I'm an idiot. Substance.
3, 5, 0, 1, 2, 5, go!
Hold on a second. Is that a punk rock I hear? Is that a punk rock?
So yeah, this is how he used to sing. It's the same guy.
Same guy, and a lot better, I feel like.
Damn.
This is a good song.
But I can see all the fake tags, just a stick in your throat.
Very reminiscent of goddamn every punk band from the era. Real good song though. Obviously worst album.
Yeah, I think it's a great album because I think they're great songwriters, but it's one of those by default it gets worse, but I still think it's a great album with great songs on it. And but yeah, due to like the other 2 are just so cohesive and have such a vision, where this is
jumbled.
They're early, jumbled with their early stuff in the singles, so it doesn't have the vision, but I still think they're great songwriters, and there's great songs on here.
I still think this has a large condensed pile of some of the worst fucking songs.
Oh
man. Like, not worst songs, I'm being harsh, but for their track record, their worst songs. Forget about it, man. Like From Safety to Where, fucking nope. Dude, like as you said, Komakino, fucking dude, like
From Safety to Nowhere was actually supposed to be on Unknown Pleasures.
Thank Christ it wasn't. Good.
That one kind of has like a reggae vibe to it too. Like it wouldn't have fit. It was a smart to cut it from the album.
Although Inner Zone was still on there. I think it was called Inner Zone. I'm an idiot. Yeah, Inner Zone. This album, this compilation, whatever. Well, first off, it has the first EP, which, like I said, is called An Ideal for Living. Why they mixed up the order is a mystery to me. The first 2, yeah. So the tracks,
what I did today, and I didn't like get through it, but for my personal like enjoyment, I put all the songs, like every Joy Division song, I put them in chronological order. So one day I'm going to sit down and like, I listened to a little bit of it though, and it makes a lot more sense that way. Or maybe that's just because that's what me and you do.
Yeah.
Like you can like hear them evolving that way when it's in order. So,
but the first EP, it was a song Warsaw, which is the opening track we just put on. No Love Lost, Leaders of Men, and Failures. All 4 of those songs are on this compilation, but they are very scattered. The first 2 tracks are Warsaw and Leaders of Men, and then the remaining 2 songs are like fucking 12 songs later or so, or more or something like that. So in between that are just singles and all kinds of other shit. This easily, without a fucking doubt, his worst vocal performances, and maybe one of the worst vocal performances of all the entire punk scene. I got a fucking timestamp for you on a transmission.
Damn.
Dude. I'm gonna let y'all hear because I just can't. Here we go. This is where we at. This is transmission.
Left the flight destruction waiting for our side.
Defend that bullshit. What the fuck was that?
I'm not. It is what it is.
Oh man. Oh, you know what? One more since I'm already shitting on him.
All right.
Atmosphere, dude. Atmosphere.
One of the most loved Joy Division
For
songs.
fucking what reason, man?
I'm gonna wait till it plays.
Yeah.
Wait, did you put it on?
Yeah, it's on right now.
Okay, I'm gonna wait till it's over.
It sounds like it should be in The Lion King.
It is a very at home in an 80s compilation album.
Don't walk away.
Walk away.
Oh Lord.
See the danger.
Oh boy.
Ian Curtis gives me hope that I could front a band,
And
because I think that's in my Q zone.
Well, if I guess I would not be a supporter of yours if that's the case, because holy God, dude. Oh man. Yeah, this for sure has his worst performances. Yeah.
I think that song is beloved because John Peel, that was the song he played after he announced Ian Curtis had died.
Of all the songs he could have
after.
picked, of all the great songs.
You gonna argue with John Peel? You know how many careers he's made, Mike?
Yeah, he recorded
Hundreds.
The Birthday Party and Killing Joke and other bands that no one's ever listened to ever again.
John Peel Scott.
No, John Peel's the shit. That dude's awesome.
Yeah.
Was awesome. Rest in peace.
But yeah, I think that's why that song is beloved.
Question: the song "Digital." When you first heard it, did you immediately think of Violent Femmes, "Blister in the Sun"?
No, I didn't.
I did, and
I didn't draw the.
I want to give
comparison.
people the chance to watch. Come on, motherfucker. So it's not this.
Okay.
It's the thing is, it's not though. It feels like it. Like I'm not gonna put on Violent Femmes, but the first thing I thought was like, oh, that's just they completely ripped off Joy Division. Like they just completely ripped it off for that. And then I put on the Violent Femmes. I was like, these are completely different notes. These are completely different rhythm. It just feels the same. Not a rip off, but it's like it's eerily similar.
That is the last song they ever performed live as well.
That sounds familiar. Really? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
odd. So catchy and happy and poppy.
Yeah, I think I was just like so in it for the like sonically and the music that I didn't really like get hung up on the vocals. Not that you're wrong, too, because I think you're right to a point, but like I can't argue it. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, he served his purpose for sure on the albums. Like they were excusable. Here, the songs are not depressing at all, and they're not produced in a way where they're kind of like encouraging a hopeless, sad sounding dude. It's just a guy who's trying to sing who can't. That's what all these songs sound like. I think
also it's frustrating that the punk songs are like separated because No Love Lost, like you can start hearing like what Joy Division would become in that song.
Yeah.
But it kind of gets you don't think about it as much when it's tacked on at the end.
It's annoying because like we said, like the final 2 tracks of the EP, they're way at the end of the compilation, and they like it's a good EP. Like if you put them all in a row, it's a completely different band. They sound like a punk band. Vocals are way better, and like he's more of a shouter. I don't know who told him that he should try to sing low because he doesn't have a low voice. But those all fit together. There's all good songs. They need to be together, and then like it's just disjointed, and the way they kind of come out of nowhere, like oh they're punk again. It's just a poorly paced compilation, I feel like.
Yeah, personally, I think it works way better in chronological order.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah.
But we live in an age of digital stuff and streaming service. You can fucking do it.
Playlists.
Yep. With Transmission, I don't think I got caught up on the vocals because I'm like, okay, this is like those punk tracks are kind of jarring, especially like I don't know too much about them. So the punk tracks are jarring, and then Transmission, you're like, okay, this is like what they're known for.
I don't even like, regardless of his vocals, I don't even like the song. It's just, it's the same 2 notes, and it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's another major second, which is like, a full step. Like, man, I hate that progression in all of music.
How do you feel about auto suggestion?
Boring. Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring. I don't know.
I think that's like their most krautrocky song.
Really? So you dug that one. You know what? We're gonna put on a little bit of it. It's coming back to me now. Yeah, it is very krautrocky. Long song.
Yeah, very driving, just simple.
Yeah, I like the way it's produced. I don't like that bass line though.
Yeah, the drums, I don't know if specifically, like dub reggae influence, but the echo on the drums.
So it does a lot of that for like 6 minutes. Like with songs like that where it's just one bass line going at it for a fucking hour. I gotta love the bass line. Otherwise, I fucking will kill myself. Yeah, I don't know why it immediately coming to mind right now is House Full of Garbage from Shellac. Like that bass line will echo in my dreams until after I'm dead. That's how much I love it. And that song goes on for like 7 minutes. I'm like, it's not fucking long enough. Like, god damn. But what else is there? It's just also really, really long. Like compared to the albums, which are like 40 minutes a pop, this one's over an hour. Second half is pretty rough.
I think also because this has like the 2 biggest songs on it, it's kind of like a misrepresentation of the band. Like, yeah, like this was probably a lot of people's first Joy Division album. It
should not be. This seems like a good. If you're a fan, fine, but everyone else,
I think it's got its moments. I think it's what am I looking for? It works in like the journey of the band, but they obviously have more impressive stuff.
Yeah, and more consistent too. Like, because a lot of this stuff, like they're so long. Where like, if you find one song that you don't like, it's going to go on for a long time, and it's not going to change a whole lot. Also, there's another version of She Lost Control in here. Much worse version than the version on Unknown Pleasures. But it's such a good song that it's like, even if it's a bad version of it, it's still a good ass song.
So great song.
This version, there's another reason why I hate it. I don't hate it, but reason why I like it way less. Only one bass in this version. Come on.
You need 2 basses.
You need 2 basses. You need 2 basses. God damn.
That's our Larry David argument for the song.
Yeah, I'm fuck, man. I really need to change my behavior, man. I get compared to that guy way too much. But worst by default. But I mean, this is a band that is not for everyone, but it's like not. I would not call them like super niche. I think people look at them as a niche band because of like like I said, the fans, people associated with like gothiness and more the Cure kind of stuff. I'd say way more accessible than that. Way less of a. It shouldn't be. It's not as like clicky. Like this isn't. These are universally good songs. I think anybody can like these.
Yeah, I think because like to this day, like Hook and Sumner,
Yeah.
are like they just did like a song with the Gorillas. They're still working. They're still went on to do New Order. That because of their longevity and ability to stay around, that actually, yeah, I kind of disagree. I think they are a little more niche than, in my head at least, but because those dudes have gone on to do other things, that people are like, hey, these Joy Division albums are fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we brushed over it when we're talking about Ian Curtis's death. Died or killed himself. Like, was it? I don't remember how soon before their very first U.S. tour, I believe.
Oh yeah, they did.
It was like right before, which is like, and that's like fucking double sad. Jesus Christ, man! Like, let me see if I can find exactly. I'm looking it up as we speak. Whoa, I'm not going to do that. There's a whole lot of things about his death, but yeah, sad band, good band. Don't let the image of sad people listening to this deter you from a legitimately solid fucking band. But I mean, I guess if you want to do a recap, it's a very brief recap.
Brief, obviously
recap.
Best. Yeah. Unknown Pleasure. Personal favorite, Closer, Worst, Substance.
And best personal favorite, Unknown Pleasure is obviously Worst, Substance. Goddamn, good band. I need some happiness, and we keep always teasing the next episode. The next episode is not going to be happy, and it's way longer. We've been knocking out 3 album discographies for a while. This next one's going to be a little bit beefier. It's going to be a little bit more taxing on the soul. Fuck, man. Fuck.
I hate you for saying that because I knew it. I just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think the moment we start, we'll remember that music is good and we like music and there's nothing wrong.
There's a reason we're doing it. Yeah.
God damn right. Also, we really have no excuse. We got nothing else. Fuck, man. All right. But thank you so much for listening and watching. If you would like to support us, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places. Rate, give us a 5-star rating, leave a review. Please make it positive if you would like, or you cannot do any of that stuff. But please do that stuff. Tell a friend. Telling a friend is always the most important thing. We want to be spread. Maybe like certain viruses that may or may not be in the air as we speak. Bad reference, but a very relevant one.
I was going to go more positive. I was going to say want to be spread like that Andre 3000 song. So
which one?
Spread.
Oh, see, I was actually going to cut you off and say HIV. So I'm clearly in a very morbid mindset. We just listened to Joy Division, dude. I want to die.
Why? I'm talking about Andre 3000 here, and you.
Oh, so I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy now. I'm the bad guy. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
You're the bad guy. You're the bad cop. I'm good cop.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Except on Simon and Garfunkel, roles are reversed.
And Sublime a little bit. I don't like Sublime, but I backed them up a little bit. Yeah.
I'll take bad guy credit on Sublime.
Yeah. And if you would like to listen to our picks for favorite Joy Division songs, our playlist that we put together, you can listen to that at Spotify. There should be a link in the description of wherever you're listening and watching. And of course, there will be all that at everyalbumever.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Pope Jesse Ventura and all my music bullshit at Panda Monkey and Alex
at Mother Puncture.
So I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to choose this last song. But
Obviously.
I think you already know what song I'm going to pick. And I think you're going to be very pleased which one I'm going to pick.
I probably would have picked the same one then.
Exactly. So we've come together once again. Agreed way more than I thought we would on this band. Thank you so much for listening. This is obviously...
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means you got bad taste, Alex. All right. It means you got bad taste. Okay. I'm sorry.
Well, yours is pedestrian. How about that?
You're throwing You're throwing critic words at me right now. Pedestrian. Next, you're gonna say I'm uninspired, Alex. Am I uninspired as well?
I'm just throwing out words now that don't really mean anything.
So this is She's Lost Control from Unknown Pleasures. Thank you for listening, guys. See ya.